Oh, give it the power. Ugh. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dietrich, and today we have the privilege of test driving a 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser First Edition. This is the return of the iconic Toyota Land Cruiser. Where I am in the US market, we have not officially had a new Land Cruiser on sale since 2021. This new version is technically the Land Cruiser Prado everywhere else in the world, but here it's just called the Land Cruiser. It's less expensive and a little bit more utilitarian than the previous Land Cruisers that we've gotten in the US, at least for the last 20 years or so. And I am just going to do a straight up on-road, what's this thing like to drive every day test drive video on it, because I'm sure a million other knuckleheads who probably know more about off-roading than I do have already done videos about how sick it is off-road. So I'm going to do what 90% of Land Cruiser owners are going to do 99% of the time, and just drive it on the street. So what's it like to drive on the street? Well, kind of like an old Range Rover. It's very comfortable. You're high up off the ground. The suspension is very soft and wobbly. They made no attempt really to give it any sort of sporty handling credentials on a paved road, which is fine because that's not what this car is about. I appreciate the clarity of purpose that this car seems to have. But with all that being said, it's still a very, very comfortable car to drive on the street. I actually figured it had air suspension because the suspension is so soft when I first started driving it, but it doesn't. Just regular old suspension, double wishbones in the front, solid axle in the rear. All of the Land Cruisers for the 2024 model year in the United States of America are powered by the Hybrid Max powertrain. So we have a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder and electric motor, hybrid battery. We have a combined system output of 326 horsepower and 465 torques. The powertrain, it's got an 8-speed automatic. The transmission's good. There's a lot of bugs out here today apparently, so I apologize if the windshield is getting progressively messier through this test drive. The powertrain is good. It does feel... If I had a complaint about this car, and the powertrain for the most part does the job just fine. You can hear that it's a 4-cylinder engine, and you can hear that it's working hard because this is a big heavy body on frame vehicle, and that's not the most dignified thing. I would prefer a V8 under the hood, even though fuel economy would definitely suffer. Although it must be said, and so far in my experience, this thing misses its EPA targets. So it's not going to get the fuel economy that it says it gets, at least in my time with it so far. And it's a little bit light right off of the line. Like from a dead stop to get moving, it feels a little weak. But other than that, other than those minor little things, this car's actually great to drive, and it's very comfortable. And it is very like third generation L322 Range Rover-esque, except for the fact that those all had V8s. But other than that, like that's what it reminds me of. It's tippy, you don't go too fast into the corners, it's super comfortable. It's super comfortable on the freeway. It's easy to see out of it, it's very roomy. One of the nights that one of the days, I've had this car for a few days that I had it, I was at my day job and ended up working like a very long 11-hour shift, and I was coming off of a 3-day weekend when I didn't get a ton of sleep. So I was relatively exhausted and had a 35-mile drive home, mostly on the freeway, and this thing was just, it was there for me. It was just so nice to drive it in those situations. If that's the feel you want out of a car, just that like real SUV comfort, and you're not worried about trying to get an SUV that handles well, and you like the way that this thing looks and it fits the budget, like, yeah, go for it. This thing is nice to drive. And I'm collecting bugs like baseball cards right now, baby. I didn't realize, well, I guess it is beginning of June. I guess it's getting to be bug season. This first edition is kind of the fully loaded one. It is pretty well equipped. Factory nav, wireless Apple CarPlay, JBL stereo, heated and cooled seats, leather, cooling box, all the off-road goodies. I can disconnect the front sway bar for better articulation off-road. Of course, they all come with low-range four-wheel drive. I can put the car in different modes to do better in different kinds of terrain. I have a sort of, they call it the crawl mode. It's like a very low speed adaptive, or not adaptive, but cruise control. So you can set the car to just go like 4 miles an hour when you're off-road and focus on not hitting anything. And once you're underway, the powertrain does have reasonable power. It's not a hot rod by any stretch of the imagination. And it is a big, heavy car with, you know, a lot. It's a giant brick to push through the air. So as you get up to higher speeds, the powertrain does have to work harder to keep you moving and get you moving faster. But with all that being said, it does a reasonable job of accelerating the vehicle. The brakes feel good. The steering's fine. I mean, you don't expect razor sharp steering in a vehicle like this, and it doesn't give it to you, but it does what it needs to do. For me, it's the comfort. This is an exceedingly comfortable vehicle on road, and I really genuinely like that about it. There's still certain off-road orientated vehicles on the market, Wrangler, that I do not find to be very comfortable on the street. And I don't understand why so many people use those as daily drivers, quite frankly, because taking it off-road, I can certainly see it, but not driving it every day. A Jeep Wrangler I'm talking about. One of these, yeah, drive it every day. This is good. It's roomy, it's practical, it's comfortable. You know, the fuel economy is not atrocious, but it's not as good as it claims to be either. It's got good power. Of course, you get some wind noise at highway speeds, but it's a big, tall brick of a thing with, you know, roof. This one's got the kind of cargo thing on top of the roof. So yeah, you get some wind noise. Whatever, it happens. Just turn up the JBL stereo system, which is okay, but not great. And you get some nice lean into the turns, but that just keeps you awake. That's so you maintain mental acuity while you're driving the car. One thing this car does have, and it's part of the Toyota Safety Sense 3.0, and it hasn't really done it to me on this road, but like when I'm driving them on the freeway, and this is not unique to the Land Cruiser. Other Toyotas have this feature. It's proactive driving assist. So even if you don't have the adaptive cruise or the lane tracing on or anything, if it thinks you're getting a little too close to the car in front of you, or you're accelerating towards the car in front of you too much, it will slow you down. And if it thinks you're going to go too fast through a curve, it will slow you down on its own accord. It's a very Toyota feature. Not a huge fan of that, but it's not really doing it to me on this road. I think the car's nav, it only does it on like major highways, which this is not. It's linked to that. I was showing this car to a buddy of mine who is a big off-roader, and he was like, man, it's so complicated. What if something breaks when you're way out in the middle of nowhere? And it's like, well, I mean, it is a Toyota. I will give Toyota the benefit of the doubt that this vehicle will prove to be reliable and a good companion to take off-roading. It's possible that time could prove me wrong, but I have faith. I have faith that this thing will get you there and get you home. Chrome don't get you home, but a Land Cruiser will. And that's pretty much what I have to say about this beautiful automobile. I have enjoyed driving it. If you want one as a daily driver to drive on the road, I think you're going to love it, as long as you're expecting a very comfortable car that, you know, that's its main thing. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them for you. There's also going to be a link to my full review video probably in the pinned comment and in the description, so you can check that out. And as always, please like my video and subscribe to my channel. And thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.